Okay, welcome to another episode of Raising the Bar with myself, John Cooper. And today we have a very special guest. We have Dr. Bruce H. Lipton. Bruce is an internationally recognized cell biologist, lecturer, and leader in bridging science and spirit. Bruce was on the faculty of the University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and later performed groundbreaking stem cell research at Stanford University. He is the best-selling author of The Biology of Belief, author of The Honeymoon Effect, and co-author with Steve Behrman of Spontaneous Evolution. Bruce received the 2009 prestigious Goei Peace Award in Japan in honor of his scientific contribution to world harmony, and his website is brucelipton.com. Bruce, welcome to the show.
I am so happy to be here with you, John, and especially our wonderful audience out there. So I hope we have some good information to offer to make life better for everyone.
Thank you. No, pleasure's all mine. To be honest with you, Bruce, I've been an admirer of you for a long while now. I actually first noticed you on an interview called The Power of Consciousness. I think maybe 9 years ago, something like that. And it absolutely fascinated me. It really gripped me at the time. And it prompted me to buy your Wisdom of Cells audio course. And I went through that and I loved it. And it was really eye-opening, especially the idea that the cell membrane actually contains the intelligence, and it's all about environment and not what we think it to be about genetics and everything coming from genes and being, passed over that way, but rather how our environment changes everything. I wanted to bring you on to talk about your life's work, but I was wondering if you wouldn't mind, and I know probably a lot of people have asked you this, you're probably a little bit fed up with talking about it, but could we start off with what's topical, and then maybe we can tangent into some of your core works, and especially some of your books and stuff like that. Could we start off with the virus potentially at the moment as a starting point? How do you feel about that?
Well, I'm into it, not into the virus itself, but into the understanding of the virus itself, and
yeah.
We're in a very interesting situation on the planet right now. And the most important part is this. You could be looking at all these individual trees and say, here's this tree and there's another tree. But if you pull back, there's a bigger thing called the forest, and you can see something more. If we look at all the little symptoms of the global chaos that's going on, including COVID-19, and oh my goodness, the whole planet is shaking, whether it's economic, religious, racial, all over, there's a great shaking of the planet. If you look at all the individual events, it's like, wow, global craziness. But if you pull back far enough, there's an important thing going on here, and people haven't paid attention to it, and that is this. Human behavior is precipitating what is called the sixth mass extinction of life. If you start with 6, that means there were 5 previous mass extinctions of life. And basically what history, we always thought that evolution was some gradual, continual process from something simple to something complex. We now know there are stop and start points that evolution builds up to something and then crashes and starts again. 5 times in history this has already happened. The last time this happened was about 66 million years ago when the dinosaurs were here. Place was flush, jungles, tropics, everything, dinosaurs everywhere, and a comet hit Yucatan Peninsula. Massive comet, upended the ecosystem, wiped out up to 90% of life. All the dinosaurs disappeared. The whole thing had to start all over again. And so the 5 previous mass extinctions before humans were here were physical events, tectonic plate movement, lots of volcanic activity, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. But today we're I'm not saying flirting with, we are now in what is called the 6th mass extinction. So, well, what does that mean? I mean, what are we looking at? And the answer is this. When up to 70% or more of life starts to disappear, we are in a mass extinction. We are now in that point. For example, World Wildlife Foundation, about a few years back, did a survey in 1970. How many animals on the planet? Got a big number. And I said, just 2 years ago, they just did the same survey. Result, over 63 or 4% of the animal population of the planet in 1970 has now disappeared. We only have 1/3 of the animals left on this planet that were here just 30, whatever, so many years ago in 70. John, in your case, I don't know about me, but 2048 is the date science has listed that there will be no fish in the ocean on planet Earth. That's coming up. 90% of the fish have been lost since 1950. That 70% of insects in different places of the world are lost. And all of this has to do with human behavior, the way we are undermining the ecosystem, poisoning the world with our toxic chemicals and the stuff that we're doing. So it's human behavior is causing this mass extinction. So it says, wake up, because we have to change the way we are living on this planet right now to preserve nature, which people go, well, nature. I go, yeah, but we are nature. And if nature doesn't exist, humans don't exist. So we're in a state of collapse. And COVID-19 is an interesting situation because it draws attention to something very important. When humans are now locked in their house, nature is rebuilding itself almost instantaneously. And it says that if we get the heck out of the way, nature will bring back the full glory of the garden that was here. But we are the interface that is causing all the problem. And so it's a wake-up call. And COVID-19 says, look, you can't keep doing this anymore because extinction is not 1,000 years from now. It's within decades from now. And so it's a wake-up call. And so I look at the COVID-19 not as the lethal thing that people have made it out to be. I look at it as a stop point. It says, stop for a minute. Stop. See what's going on here. Give a chance to reflect on your life. What's going on in the world? So I see this as an opportunity for us to change our consciousness, wake up, and create a better planet.
Yeah, so you're actually saying, Bruce, that the coronavirus is almost like a natural autocorrect on the ecosystem that we live in. Is that kind of?
Well, yeah, it's very interesting because first of all, it was driven by fear that this, this is lethal COVID-19 is going to kill you, and it turns out if you look at the statistics, it's still within the range of a normal flu season, except that it's more aggressive than normal. And the reason is simply this. Every year there's a flu season with the same kind of viruses, rhinoviruses, coronaviruses, different viruses. Every year we go through the same thing. Flu season's here, and most people go, yeah, okay. Some people, older people who need to protect themselves more, go get shots and things like that. But we go through the flu every year. This year, it's the same damn story, except a little more aggressive because in previous flu seasons, there's always some immunity and memory of previous exposures to similar kinds of viruses. What makes us as unique is that relatively new to the human population. So all of us don't really have any memory, which means that we'll get the flu, but it'll be a little stronger than normal because we don't have any immunological memory to fall back on. So I said, yeah. I said, well, who are the ones that are dying? Because everything's about the fear of death. I go, it's the same group of people that die every year. These are the people who are old and in nursing homes, whose health is already compromised to a degree, as well as those others whose health is compromised, people with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, all these other issues. They weaken the system already. So every year, the same kind of people go through the problem of dying from the flu. Same group, okay? It's just a little bigger group, but the same people. It's not young people that are really dying or anything. It's the same people. The fear, though, of the virus is probably more lethal than the virus. And I say, why? And the answer is this. We have an immune system, and that protects our interior body. We have a fight or flight adrenal system, which protects us from threats on the outside. So here's the point. When we're in fear, we release stress hormones into the body. Stress hormones do a couple of things. They shut down the growth and maintenance of the body, not to shut it off, but to redirect the energy. If I'm being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, I don't think I need to worry about building up my body and taking care of all the systems and stuff like that. It's like, run, get out of here. The immune system uses a lot of energy. People get sick, they don't have energy sometimes to get out of bed, okay? That's what the immune system. If you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and you have a bacterial infection, I say, well, yeah, let's split the energy. How much do I need to run away from the tiger and how much do I need to fight the bacteria? And the answer is really simple. The hell with the bacteria. If the tiger gets you, the bacteria are really not anybody's, it's not your problem anymore. So fact, When stress hormones are released into the body, they shut down the immune system to conserve energy to run away from the threat. Okay? And so basically, this is the issue we're facing right now. People are afraid. People are in fear. And I say, the moment you have this fear, you've already compromised your health system. So the idea is we have to get out of that mentality. And this is why I say, look at it this way. Statistically, we're still in the range of a normal flu season with the COVID-19. We're over-responding. We're scaring people to death about this thing. And the fact is, that's the fear that's being built up. And I get very concerned about it personally because the so-called forces to be are saying, well, the way out is to vaccinate everybody. And I go, I am not into that vaccination stuff. And it's very interesting because here's an interesting factoid about that, and that is this. If you ask your doctor, what's in that vaccine you've just injected into me, they'll say, we can't tell you because they don't even know. I go, wait a minute. You're going to stick stuff in my body, and you're not even telling me what the hell is in it? And they say, yep, legally, that's what they stand on. Legally, we don't have to tell you. And I go, well, then I don't want anybody to stick some vaccine in me if you're not even going to tell me what the hell's in it. But we're pushing. And it was interesting. In 1976, there was a threat of a swine flu. And that was a similar flu from 1918. And I said, what was the threat based on? Here's an interesting fact. One soldier in a Fort Dix military base in New Jersey died. They claimed it was the swine flu. They then immediately jumped on the fact and said, oh my God, that's the thing that killed millions of people in 1918. And so they immediately jumped to say, well, what should we do? And the first thing they all came up with is, let's vaccinate everybody. I go, wow. And it was interesting because I say, where'd you come up with the idea of vaccinating everybody? Little storyline. They had the first Congress on pandemics, which are flus that go around the world, in Europe, sponsored by the US government and the pharmaceutical companies. They came to a hasty conclusion because it was just a short conference and said, well, what should we do if a pandemic comes? And they said, we should inject everybody. 5 days after that conference in Europe, the swine flu was reported by that one soldier who died. Then they pushed the whole thing. Everybody's going to get vaccinated. It was interesting in Great Britain. Everybody around the world was going to get, oh my God, we got to vaccinate people. Okay. Great Britain had 11 soldiers volunteer to get a shot of that, swine flu. Out of the 11 soldiers, I think 3 of them got serious fever. About 2 or 3 or 4 of them got mild flu symptoms, and the rest of them had no effect at all. So Great Britain was the first country to say, we're not going mandatory vaccine here. All the other countries started to back out. Only the US stayed in the game, but the boondoggle of getting that vaccine to the people, the only ones who got injected were kids at school, which is, for me, that's the scary part, and old people. The rest of the population looked around and said, there's no swine flu. I'm not going to take a vaccine. So they're trying it again. And the idea is to vaccinate everybody. And I say, I do not trust the pharmaceutical company because they are not my friend. They are friends of themselves. and therefore, if they say they're going to inject me with something and they're not telling me what's in it, these are the last guys I would ever trust to stick something in my body.
Thanks for all that. I actually wanted to ask you about vaccines in that because a virus changes and mutates all the time, how is it then possible for them to isolate the specific virus and create a sustainable vaccine?
Good question, because when you get infected by this virus, you could change the genetics of it through your immune system. The way that you will start to kill some form of it, but then they'll mutate and there'll be another form your immune system won't be able to work with. So you keep altering it. And the idea, which always is a joke to me, how the hell do you know what next season's flu is going to be before next season gets here? And you're already making a flu shot for next year. It's like, huh? And so basically, and let's get down to a simple fact. Up to 40-50% of the people that have been tested about COVID-19, 40 or so % of the people are infected and have no symptom.
Mm.
And all of a sudden I go, oh my God, there's lots of people that apparently are infected and have not even a symptom of this. So the lethal mortality scare on the airwaves is psychologically reducing people's immune system, opening them up to getting disease, especially when people are out of work, especially when people don't have any money when they're out of work. Many people live week to week paycheck. And all of a sudden you say, well, for the next 2 months, you're not going to work. It's like, I got no money. Well, there's a stress right there, so I think we're really building a big story with the conclusion of let's vaccinate everybody. And I go, boy, that's the thing I'd stay away from right away.
Absolutely. Thoughts on Bill Gates at this point?
Well, Bill Gates has got a lot of investment in this whole damn thing. He invests in all kinds of vaccine companies and things like that. I like the joke somebody said, look, Bill Gates couldn't get the virus out of his computer, and now he wants to get the virus out of humanity.
Exactly, and people are sort of, because they're watching the news and they're seeing him on TV. I mean, he has no medical background. He's unelected, yet at the same point, everyone's going to him as the go-to, and I just think it's very sketchy. It's the mildest word I could describe it, to be honest.
I was going to say sketchy is very polite. Thank you.
I'm British, Bruce, so we like to try and be polite. We like to try and be polite. I was going to also say, you talk about the pharmaceutical industry, or I call it the pharmaceutical industrial complex.
Yes.
But you still assert that the virus is natural. Is it not possible that this could have been engineered, or is it not possible that they could have even cooked the books in terms of when people are being being given the death certificate or listed as having this virus? Is it not possible that they could fudge it that way?
Absolutely. Could be possible. The whole idea is we have no understanding of it, okay? And a simple reality is, I look at it this way. How much do I trust the pharmaceutical companies and the government? And yeah, there you go. Goose egg. Okay, so the idea is this. That just leaves me open because I know there's been research into gain of function, it's called, to make viruses more virulent than they normally are, that it was outlawed by the government, and Fauci, the big maca, big guy, he was the one that said, no, we're going back in to do gain of function, even though the government outlawed it. And so I am not, it's the same damn people from 1976 with the swine flu. They wanted to give everybody an injection, but there wasn't enough swine flu to scare people. But this time we have COVID-19. Now people are scared, and now the same idea coming back has more power than it would have had if there was no fear. The idea of vaccinating everybody would go, what, are you crazy? But now you got the fear, and everybody, oh, okay. And I say, can it be a conspiracy? I say, I have no idea. That's the truth. But the idea is, do I trust them? Could it be something that was manufactured? And the answer is, surely it could be, especially with the kind of research of gain of function that they're working on. To me, it's like, I don't trust them. But I'll tell you what, the whole idea is this: stay healthy, eat well, eat not industrial food, organic, healthy food, take vitamins, mineral supplements, go out and do your exercising, but think clearly, because all of these together will keep you from having to deal with this. How many times do people get, oh, it's flu season, it's time to get a shot, and then somebody like myself goes, I can deal with this. I don't need to deal with the problem. I don't even get the damn flu consciously. Yeah. But if I'm afraid, the first thing that happens when I'm afraid is I shut off the immune system. I'm open to anything at this point.
Yeah, it does seem like the perfect storm. Whether it was engineered or whether it's natural, it's definitely being harnessed for more surveillance and more draconian control methods. And then it makes you think, well, if that's the case, then why would it not be possible to reverse engineer that process? And that's what gets me thinking. That's what I share information with, and certainly seems a little bit nefarious to me. I just wanted to ask Bruce, if viruses mutate, how are they able to isolate it? How are they able to do it in a test scenario if it's mutating all the time? What's the test procedure there?
Well, their whole idea of testing is you isolate what you think is the virus, and then you infect things with it and see if they get infected. And then if something is infective and causes a problem with the organism you're testing, then okay, we got something virulent. But if you get so-called like the swine flu, when the British soldiers were injected with the so-called swine flu and nothing happened really outside of a flu, the Brits looked at it and go, no, we're not going to deal with this at this point. So they did a test. Is this really the problem? The answer is nope. And then Britain pulled out of the game immediately.
Yeah. Because there's I'm trying to remember the names of these tests as well. The RT-PCR tests. It was invented by someone called Carey Mullis in 1984. And these are the sort of tests that are being used to isolate the virus. She says that those test machines aren't meant to be used for viruses. They're used to test for genetic material, DNA and RNA sequences, basically fit for genomes, and yet that is somehow being used for testing for the virus. And so it's bound to skew our data and it's flawed basically. I don't know if you.
Well, they recognize that right now. The tests are flawed right now. They already know that. They're going to give you the test and they can say, well, there's a very large percentage of false positives on this.
Right.
Well, if they already start off with a large percentage of false positive, what the hell good is the test?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've also seen there's people coming out talking about the idea that this is not, it's actually an exosome. Dr. Kaufman's work, he points to exosomes are small endosomes derived lipid nanoparticles actively secreted by exocytosis in most living cells.
But let me give you an insight on that just a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
First of all, interesting, they did the Human Genome Project, and they found out if you looked at all the genes in the human body, how many genes make a human? Right. Let's look at it. A gene is a blueprint to make a body part called a protein. Yeah. The cells are built out of proteins. So the genes are the blueprints to make the body, okay? Right. Now, I say, well, what percent of my genome is making human body? About 3%. And I say, oh, and here's another number that blows your mind. I say, well, they've also found that between 5 and 8% of our genome makes viral genes. So we have more viral genes in our genome than we have human genes in our genome. Wow. You go, well, why would they do that? And the answer is this. Viruses are the highest form of communication between living organisms, between cells and et cetera. I say, what do you mean? How else can I control your body? I got nervous system, okay, and I say, yeah, out of 50 trillion cells, only a very small percent are connected to the nervous system, so I can't control 50 trillion cells with a nervous system. And I say, well, how else do I control cells? I said, well, you got hormones. And I go, great. You put them in the blood, they go all over. I go, yeah, now I got a problem. What if I want a specific cell type to reproduce more because I need them, or a specific cell type that I don't want anymore because I'm not, let's say, using that food, I don't need the cell. Excuse me. So the point is this, you can't divide or kill with a hormone. How do you know where the hell it's going to go? The only way to successfully target a cell is with a virus, because a virus has a zip code on the surface of that virus that plugs into the specific destination that I'm looking for. So the idea is this, in my 50 trillion cell community, it turns out our cells have more viral genes than human genes. I go, so what? And I say, because these genes that are in our body go into exosomes. Exosomes like, what's that? And I say, some means body, exo is out of, body's coming out of cells. And for the longest time, a large percentage of these bodies are for just removing debris from a cell, broken stuff, and the cell throws it out, and macrophages come, gobble it up, and recycle the material. So most of exosomes were thought to be just digestive things. Then they started to find, no, there's a massive population of very small exosomes that have DNA, RNA, and hormones for the immune system called cytokines. I go, what about those? I go, those aren't destructive. Those are community organizing viruses. So we are making exosomes that control our biology. So the point is this, we make our own viruses. And then all of a sudden I say, yeah, but if you confuse them with outside viruses, inside viruses, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, then it gets very fuzzy. So could we make this ourselves? The answer is we can make any damn thing. So where's it come from? How's it work? They don't know, but they sure as hell have made a program as if they do know. And this is the problem because the data is coming up to reveal, no, they don't know. But they're really forcing us to do things that I think are unnatural in regard to vaccinating everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. These expelling of exosomes, it plays a role in intercellular communication as well, doesn't it? It's actually a natural thing that's actually part of the.
That's its whole function. Right. Specific intercommunication. I'll give you a good example of the use of an exosome. Yeah. Okay. That when a woman is pregnant, her egg and the male sperm come together, and I go, but the embryo is genetically different than the mother because it's got different genes than the mother in it. Okay, so different activity. I go, yeah, but the placenta cells invade the mother's uterus, just like cancer. Exact same thing. The cells grow from the embryo into the uterus, just as an invasive cancer. Same thing. I say, well, wait, how come the mother's immune system doesn't reject the fetus and the placenta? Because the placental cells make exosomes that are sent to the maternal immune system to redirect the immune system to go away from the fetus. Go away from here, because this is private-like area, okay? Now it turns out they also find that cancers do the same thing, that when you have a cancer in your body, you make your own exosomes that organize the immune system to stay away from the cancer, just the same way that the fetal cells tell the maternal system, don't mess with this, okay? So we are making these exosomes all the time. They're organizing. As I said, there are three ways to communicate with the system: nerves, hormones, and the most effective of specialization are viruses. And you say exosome. I say exosome is what they call them because nobody wanted to take the jump and say, okay, truthfully, these are viruses. Why? By every definition, they're a virus. They carry information targeting a specific cell to take over the genetic activity of that cell when the cell gets infected by these. They're called exosomes. Why? Because they don't want to use the word virus, but by definition, an exosome that they're talking about is a virus, and viruses are extremely the most specific form of communication that the body has.
And they're benign, they're natural is what we're saying, right?
Excuse me, John, go say it.
Sorry, Bruce. I was just saying, and they're benign. It's like friendly viruses that actually aid the body, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's how do you coordinate 50 trillion citizens? Exactly. You know, there's like local community stuff going on. There's distant community stuff going on, and you have to coordinate it. It's not just a bunch of cells in a sack.
Yeah, exactly.
All the cells are citizens in a community. And information is the most important aspect of any community. You deny information, the community falls apart.
We just call them virus. It almost sounds like a pejorative to use the word virus because it's used in that terms. But we're talking about, it's like friendly bacteria in the gut. That's how we're referring to this, isn't it?
Well, you know, we have bacteria. You know, that's another level. We have what is called the microbiome, and every surface on your body, on the outer surface, but everything that goes inside that's connected to the outside, digestive tract, is connected to the outside. Things go inside, and I say in the ears, they go inside. The nose, the urogenital system, the respiratory system, every place that is open to the outside, there's a lining of bacteria that constitute what's called the microbiome. And you say, well, these are bacteria living on you. I say, they're not living on you, they're living with you. And the point is this: you cannot live as a human being without these bacteria. They're involved with digestion. If you don't have gut bacteria, you don't digest the food. Okay, it doesn't work very well. These bacteria are the primary immune defense, even though they're not part of the immune system. I say, why? Because bacteria live in a community, and if a foreign bacteria comes into that community that is disruptive, the bacterial community will kill the invader. So since all your surfaces are lined by these bacteria, you have these bacteria are part of your human system. That's why the definition of a human has changed recently. It's now referred to as a superorganism. And they say that because, you got about 50 trillion human cells, but you have maybe up to 10 times as many bacterial cells living with you. And I say living with you because if you didn't have these bacteria, you would die. And I say, so all of a sudden it says, well, these bacteria are part of being a human. You cannot be alive if you don't have them. So the human includes now just our cells that we make with our genetics, plus all of the bacteria and viruses that constitute what is called the microbiome. And they're required. And that's why people don't understand when you take antibiotics, you're killing your own microbiome because there's no specificity between invasive bacteria and the ones you need. And that's why probiotics are important in our diet to keep the feeding and supplementing the microbiome.
Fantastic. Yeah, we actually call that's the friendly bacteria from the adverts. They say that, and you need your friendly bacteria. That's what they say on the probiotics advert. Yeah.
They stop any infection even before it gets into the body because any infection has to go through that microbiome to get to you. So your microbiome is your primary defense mechanism, followed by immune system.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. I also wanted to ask, Bruce, if the coronavirus came from animals, why is it that animals and our pets aren't getting ill at all?
Good question. We don't know. Again, here's what's unique about a virus. On the surface of the virus are protein antennas, just like sticking up on the surface, okay?
Yeah, that's the halo,
these antennas are zip codes.
Yeah.
They identify what they're going to combine with. So if I have a canine virus, then there's going to be dog-related proteins that this virus will recognize, but not cat-related. So viruses in dogs stay within dogs, cats, and et cetera. But if an organism it has its own viruses and we start to get involved with eating those organisms and taking those organisms in unnaturally, that there was no normal way that this infection would have affected this organism until you bring it into that organism. And all of a sudden you say, oh my God, there is cross-reactivity, and now that can spread. And presumably that's the foundation of what they said the COVID came from.
COVID-19.
We picked it up.
It just seems a little bit strange that if it did come from a bat, the only species on the planet it's really affecting is humans, but no others. I mean, are we saying that all bats are dying out now as well?
No, well, all of us have viruses right now, and we can live with a lot of the viruses because over evolution, we learned to live with them. So bats learned to live with them, but we didn't learn to live with them.
But why is it targeting humans and disproportionately to any other species on the planet right now?
Because we ate the bats.
Well, I guess so, yeah.
If you don't eat the bats, then there's probably no reason to get it. if that's what the source is.
Exactly, that's my point.
I put the big if in the front. If.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make, because if we can transmit this to any other species, it's only proliferating amongst humans, which seems a little bit odd to me. And all our cats and our dogs and the bats and the penguins and the whatever it is, any animal you pick, they're all fine, which makes there's a big question mark on that for me.
But again, I don't trust them.
I don't trust them is the answer. Yeah, that's what it basically it comes down to. And also, if this was a virus, I'd like to know, why is it places where there's no lockdown, such as Sweden, actually have a very low death rate from COVID-19, and even places like India, which I think they have nearly 1 billion people there. They've only got just over 1,000 deaths, and they're right on the border of China. And so this to me doesn't really even make sense. In terms but this is what I was trying to say earlier, that the number of people that died, this is still within the range of every year. Let's say the flu, every year we talk, the flu season coming back, right? And I go, globally, up to 650,000 people can die and still be called a normal flu. We're just breaking over 200,000 now. And I go, well, when you get more than 3 times as many as this, we exceed what is called normal. Okay, we're within the range of normal. But I said it's more aggressive only because we don't have a memory. And so the immune system, has to work much harder
to deal with it. But it's not deadly, because even with respiratory distress, which is the big problem, that could be dealt with medically. So it's not like, oh my God, I got it, and now nothing can happen. You know that nobody can help me. I go, that's not true. There's no reason to die, because we have ways of, impacting that to stop the action. So I said, then who's dying? I said, the same ones who die every year anyway. It didn't change in that regard. So the fear is like, oh my God, this is so deadly. And I go, it's deadly for the same people. And I just give the advice simply this: if I was in the compromised situation, whether I was an old guy, which I'm not, I'm only 75, and I'm not old. If I was an old person, or I was compromised with cancer or heart problems or diabetes and these things, I would take extra precaution to isolate myself from the public. Not that I have to isolate the public from the public, but I isolate myself, because I'm the one that could be affected the most. So putting a quarantine and putting the people who are most capable, most likely to get infected and have a problem, as separate, and protecting them is what the idea is about. But not to protect you and me from each other. We don't have a problem. And so the idea is, again, up to 40 to 50% of the people that are infected, as proven by these tests, don't even have a symptom that they're infected.
And also, Bruce, how do they even do the tests on these people? What's the procedure? Is it a swab test? Do they take a bit of tissue, or what?
Well, there's two kinds of tests. You can test whether the virus exists, and that's a swab test.
Yeah.
Okay. It's on the outside of your body. You're reproducing it, and I could swab it and then test it. Okay. Yeah. Or you can test did I already have the virus? I say, how would I know? I said, because I would make antibodies against the virus. So I'd have to do a blood test to take out a sample of my blood and see if my immune system can recognize the virus. If my immune system can recognize the virus, then it says I've already been infected, because my immune system is already dealing with it. So I can either test whether I made antibodies, a blood test, or the idea that I could swab the outside of my system with the idea that if the viruses are killing cells and they're being released, I could see the virus. So these tests are not accurate in any sense of the term right now. The percentage of false positives are extremely high. And as a result, they're not reliable. But they can scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and are they actually even doing these tests in hospitals? Because it doesn't seem to me they are. Like, are they really doing a swab of everyone and before they give them the?
I'm here in New Zealand. And my partner Margaret and I want to go back to the States, and we thought, oh well, we should get a test, so we'll have a certificate that we're free and come back home to the United States. And then we found out, no, they have tests, but it's mainly only for healthcare workers or essential workers. They're not doing the entire population. They don't have that many tests in the first place. Okay, so the whole thing stinks. Let's be honest.
The
whole thing stinks, and we're beginning to see the drop off, because that was anticipated. They build up, they drop down. We're on the dropping down part now. Okay, will we have a second phase? Because we're going to get a second wave. And I go, you know why you would have a second wave? Because if you isolate all the people now, and then they come back out and they have no exposure to this, but it comes around again, then they're the first ones that are going to get attacked, because they haven't had any previous exposure. So when you isolate people, you inhibit what is called the herd effect, which gives an opportunity for people to share all of this, have the immune systems work on it, and then we're collectively okay. But you hide a portion of the population, prevent them from being in contact with it, and then you say, okay, come on out. I go, Jesus, now you know, there's a whole population that has not been, in communication with this virus, but now will be. So it's a game. I don't want to play the game. I'm going to stay healthy.
Stay healthy, and try and be in good spirits and open-hearted, and
you must be because
absolutely.
the moment you are threatened is the moment you start releasing stress hormones, and that is the moment that stress hormones are so effective at shutting off the immune system that when they're going to transplant an organ from person A to person B, they give the recipient, before they do the transplant, they give the recipient stress hormones. Why? Well, it reduces the function of the immune system. When they put the foreign organ in just after that, the immune system won't be so aggressive.
Wow.
So the idea is what? Well, the effect of stress hormones on reducing the immune system is so effective that it's used therapeutically to shut off immune systems. So it's like, so just watch the news. You can do it yourself. You can shut off your own immune system.
Absolutely. Read a newspaper. It's all just fear. It's fear porn, as they say, you know, and they'll probably do that just before they give the mandatory vaccine to everyone as well. I can imagine.
Well, that's it. You know, and again,
I mean, what are they going to do? Are they going to vaccinate every animal on the planet as well, or?
Look, we just want to save the humans. The rest of the planet can die. That's the way we've been doing it anyway, you know. So that's why we're facing the sixth mass extinction. There we go. Oh, the hell with the water, you know, the hell with the soil. Throw all the chemistry in there. Okay, pollute the air. We're doing that every minute. And it's like, we are nature. If nature goes, we go. We cannot be here without nature. You know, they talk about, okay, humans are going to go to move some planet. I go, yeah, but what are they going to do? Oh, we're going to take all our seeds and all of our stuff. And I go, why? Because you cannot live without these things of nature. And now we have so messed up nature that we're threatening our own extinction at this minute.
What's the way out of that then? I mean, obviously we're, you know, the infrastructure that we live in, it's you know, very top down authoritarian. It's run by these sort of big corporations. We're in a corporatocracy. I think I pronounced that right. But you know, we don't really, as the people at the bottom of this pyramid, don't really have much. What can we do?
Well, the first thing is this. We have to recognize that our consciousness is creating our life experiences. That's number one. I go, oh, that sounds like new agey. I go, no, this is the foundational principle of quantum physics. You go, so what? I go, quantum physics is the most valid science on planet Earth. There is no science that's been tested more or affirmed more than quantum physics. That if you're going to challenge any science, the last one you challenge is quantum physics. I go, so why is that important? I go, because the first principle of quantum physics is consciousness is creating your life experiences. And I say, so, well, if I redirect your consciousness, then I can redirect your life. I go, 100%, 100%. I can change your consciousness. I control your life. And so we've been programmed, you know, the work ethic and all kinds of ideas to work for the company and make the company. And what about your personal life? It's like, work for the company, hard work, the Protestant work ethic. You know, we're going out there to work. And it's like, wait a minute, who are you working for? And are you fulfilling your life experiences here? Why did we come here? We didn't come here to be workers. We came here to experience the garden. I said, what garden? I said, well, there used to be a garden until we destroyed it. And I go, so what was the point? I say, we are creators. Everyone's a creator. But here's the problem. Our conscious creative mind works on the average in our world about 5%. I go, so what does that mean? I say, 5% of our conscious activity is involved with creating the life that we want. I said, well, then where's the other 95% coming from? I go, subconscious programs. I say, programs. We have been programmed to believe this or to believe that. I go, yeah, but your belief controls your biology. If I believe I have a cancer, I can have a cancer because my biology will manifest. I can create any damn thing. And so the idea is we've been taken apart, especially in this COVID time where they separate people. I go, why is that a problem? Because the only way people have power is in community. If you break up the community, there's no power left. And the idea is now we have been disempowered because nobody cares about what we say, but they all care about what the experts say. Bill Gates, what the hell does he know? You know? And I say, well, why is this a problem? We have given up power in our programming to buy other people's opinions, even over your own health. We control our health 100%. I go, yeah, but then why are there sick people? I said, because 95% of the day you're going to buy the story from a professional. I go, what do you mean? I said, in the first 7 years of our life is where we get programmed. I go, back up one step to understand why programming, okay? I buy a new computer. I open it up, push start, it boots up. That's the operating system. So I go to the store, buy a new computer, bring it home, start it up, boots up, and I say, now do something. You go, well, like what? I said, write, draw, spreadsheet or something. I said, first I have to put a program in there. If I don't have a program, computer's absolutely useless. No program, useless. A brain is a supercomputer. A child's brain operating system, last trimester of pregnancy, it's already working. I go, yeah, but what do you need to do? I said, before you can use it, you have to install programs in it. Because if you don't have programs, you can't use the damn computer. So all of us as children in the first 7 years of lives, our brain computer is operating in record. Record what? Programs. I said, where do the programs come from? I say, watching your mother, watching your father, watching your family, and listening to the professionals. So I go, oh, let me give you the one about health because that's simple. I say, when you were a kid, in most families, if somebody was sick, what was the result? Oh, we have to go to the doctor. I'm sick, I go to the doctor. Mom's sick, she goes to the doctor. I said, what is the program you just got? And the idea is, when it comes to health, I'm not in charge. When it comes to health, there are professional people, and their word overrides me. Why? Because what the hell do I know? I'm just an average guy, okay? But the doctor knows. I go, oh, then what does that mean? In your programming, you have given up power over your life to the power of the words from the doctor. Why? Because they're the professionals. They know. Who am I? I'm not anybody. And if the doctor says this, then that's true. And all of a sudden I said, well, then you've given up power. I go, you sure have. Because now you buy a professional's power because it sounds very, very logical. And then I go, well, there's something called the placebo effect, which is a positive thought leading to a positive physical outcome. But there's something called the nocebo effect that says a negative thought is equally powerful but works in the opposite direction. So if I get a negative belief system from a professional, it will replace my control and give it to that professional opinion. That's what the idea is. The program is, oh, I don't know anything. I'm not a doctor, but the doctor knows. And so when it comes to my health, it's based on what the doctor says. And I go, well, this is a problem because if you get a negative diagnosis and the belief system is that that's the truth, the nature of the creative system is to take that so-called truth and manifest it. If you're told you're going to die in 3 months and you have bought the system, in about 3 months, your system will decline and you will die. Whether you have cancer or you don't have cancer, your belief will kill you. So all of a sudden it says, well, who are you getting your beliefs from? I go, now that's the game. Who are we buying these beliefs from? We changed our belief sources over centuries. We used to get the belief from the guys wearing the black coat from the church. Today we get our beliefs from the guy wearing the white coat from science. And I go, yeah, but these are manipulations. And now I didn't mean that there's no truth coming from them, but if there's a mistake, that to us, we don't see it as a mistake. We just buy it as a truth. Whatever the doctor said, that's true. And so what we have to learn is what's really true and what's not. We're not discriminating. We're just accepting.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing, but the doctor said so. The government said so. Boom.
Yeah.
That's the game.
Absolutely. That is the game. I mean, how would we, and there's also something I wanted to say about that is we're not authoring our own lives. We're giving our authorship to other people. And that's why we have the term authority. We're not authoring our own lives.
Exactly. Exactly. 95% of the time. Now, the idea is this. You can stop the program. Really? You can stop the program.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Well, and I say, okay, look, point. Your life is blah, 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 every stinking day, blah, 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 blah. And then you meet someone special. Someone, you fall in love, okay? And I go, every day your life was blah, blah, blah. And then 24 hours after you fall in love, guess what? Oh, life is so beautiful. Everything is great. The music's great. The food's great. The love is great. And I go, this is called the honeymoon. I go, what's the honeymoon? It's a period after you meet someone that you start to create together a life different than what you had just before. I go, why is this relevant? And the answer is this. It now turns out that we know what the difference is. When people fall in love like that, they stop playing the programs. The first time in their life where they are now controlling with wishes and desires the conscious mind, not program, subconscious mind. I go, so what happens if you're operating from wishes and desires? I go, you manifested heaven on earth. That's where the honeymoon came from. That's where the healthy part of, the chemistry of love is health to the body. It releases hormones that enhance our vitality. That's why when people fall in love, they're so healthy. It's not an accident, And I go, so why is it relevant? I say, look what happens the moment you stop playing the program. It only took 24 hours and your life was a completely different life experience. Now it's heaven on earth. Used to be blah, blah, blah. I go, wow, what happened? How did I create heaven on earth? I go, you stopped playing the programs. This is what science has recognized, that on a normal day-to-day basis, 95% of our life is coming from programs. But when you fall in love, 90% or more of your life comes from the conscious creative mind, the one with wishes and desires. And that's why all of a sudden I say, oh my God, my life sucked every day. I've met this person and the next day was heaven on earth. I go, it was always there, except you were not operating from conscious mind. We don't do that. We operate from subconscious program. And this is why the Jesuits, 400 years, told the people the truth and nobody understood what the hell they were saying. I said, what did they say? They said, give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man. I go, what the hell does that mean? We just said programming occurs for the first 7 years of your life and that these programs run 95% of your life. So if I can control the first 7 years of your life, I own the rest of your life. And that's what they said. Give me a child till 7, I'll show you the man, because they'll create that. And so that's not new. That's only about 400 years old. But the biology now shows the mechanism of that it's not just a suggestion. It's a biological reality. And what we have to do is, what programs are limiting us? I go, as I understand it, up to about 70% of the programs that we got before age 7 are disempowering, self-sabotaging, limiting beliefs. And then we struggle the rest of our life because we're operating from those programs until the day you stop. And the day you stop playing those programs is the day that heaven on earth begins for you, because that was what you wanted to create, but the programs kept taking you away. The programs we're prisoners of programs.
So beautiful, Bruce. That was absolutely profound. I love that. That was beautiful. You're really in your conscious there doing that, saying all that.
Well, it's so important, and then, especially because you want to talk about relationships. Look, I had shit relationship. Oh, excuse me. I said that word online. But for 40 plus years, I go, why? Well, where did I get my program of relationships? I downloaded the behavior of my mother and father in the first 7 years. I watched them. And so as a guy, I take up my father's behavior because that's what guys do. And girls take up their mother's behavior. That's what they do. And I go, so what's the relevance about this? And I go, Jesus, if you were programmed by my father for relationships, you wouldn't have a relationship either. And I had to learn that. I had to learn, what was my failure? Why did my life not work out the way I wanted it? And then only to come to the reality and the biology that, only about 5% of my life is created from what I want. 95 came from the programs. And when I change that, and I go, and here's one of the interesting things, because this is about men. Let's face this. I go, women get very upset with us at some point because they go, oh, you're so insensitive. I go, we were programmed to be insensitive. We were programmed as young boys not to have feelings, not to show emotions. Tough it up, man. Hey, see if you flinch. Hit him in the shoulder. See if he flinches. It's like, well, you could hit me and I didn't feel it. And inside you're going, like that, but I didn't feel it. And I go, so what was the consequence? So I said, what program did you learn? I go, you learn to become insensitive. I said, what value is that? And I say, you can't have a soldier who is sensitive.
Exactly.
If a soldier was sensitive, who the hell is he going to kill? And so you take sensitivity out of men so you can put a uniform on them and you can kill somebody with no emotion involved. Okay? But that's on the battlefield. What about back at home? I go, hey, same program. I'm insensitive. I go, and then we look for relationships. and they work in the beginning. I go, well, how come they worked in the beginning? I said, you stopped playing the program. And that's when the honeymoon began. That's why the relationships was so cool when it started. But at some point, you start to bring the programs back in, most of them being negative, and all of a sudden that honeymoon disappears. Now it's back into the same BS that we had before. And so what was the reality? And the reality is we have been programmed to operate under the control of leaders,
Yes,
whoever they are.
tough guys.
Put this uniform on, go and kill people and come home and be a loving husband. Huh? Where the hell did that come from?
Absolutely. The programming of society. I mean, it's no coincidence that our TV channels are called programs. You know, that's what we call it in England anyway. I'm not sure. But
yeah, that's the same.
Are you saying that you deprogram then reprogram, or are you saying you transcend programs? And I know you talked about...
Well, you can't transcend them.
No,
you can't transcend them. They're automatic. You switch to subconscious, not consciously. Yeah. You switch to it because here's the reason why. But okay, I said 5% you control with conscious mind, 95% program. I say, why? What's the difference? I go, when we are thinking, our attention is not looking out. Our attention is looking in. So conscious attention is like, you consider your body like a vehicle with a steering wheel. When conscious is the driver, we're driving to where the hell we want, wishes and desires. That's where we're going. But I say, if you start thinking redirects your attention. Thought is not outside, thought is inside. So the moment I start thinking, my conscious creative mind lets go of looking out the windshield, goes inside because that's where thoughts are. You know, I say, John, tell me what you're doing on Thursday. You're sitting there right now. If you don't have it written in front of you, in a moment you could contemplate and go, Thursday, oh yeah, I'm doing this. I go, where did you just get that information? Inside. I say, how'd you do that? I looked inside. I said, well, when you were looking inside, were you looking outside? And I say, no, you can't do both. So the moment you are thinking, the subconscious is autopilot. You let go of the wheel. I'm thinking I'm inside. Yeah, but autopilot picks up the wheel and starts driving. I go, that's how you could drive the car and be in thought and not kill anybody, because the subconscious just kicks in its autopilot. It's a million times more powerful. A computer can handle your car better than the conscious mind. In fact, think about it this way. If your car is just going to skid out of control, you know what happens immediately? Your conscious mind is shut off. Why? It's too slow to process how to deal with the skid. And the moment your conscious mind shuts off, guess what? Subconscious has got the brakes going, the wheel turning, and everything. No thinking. It's a reflex behavior. Okay? It's fast. So I go, so what's the point? 95% of the day is the time we spend thinking. I go, so what does that mean? I said, you're not paying attention to what's going on. So I've told this same story, John, 30 years in lectures. Same story, so I'm going to repeat it again, maybe 33 now. And the story goes simply this. You have a friend, you know your friend's behavior very well, and you happen to know your friend's parent. And one day you see your friend has the exact same behavior as their parent. So you got to tell somebody, you go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. And I say, back away from Bill. The moment you say that to him, what's he going to say? He's going to go, how can you compare me to my dad? I'm nothing like my dad. He'll go ballistic on you. And everyone laughs because they're all experienced. I said, if there's a profound message, that's it. I said, what do you mean? I said, everyone else can see that Bill behaves like his dad. Who's the one that doesn't see it? Bill. I said, well, explain that. I go, surely, I can explain it easily. He got the program from his dad in the first 7 years, his download. Right? Yeah, that's right. I say, when does he play it? When he's thinking? I say, yeah, but when he's thinking, is he watching the behavior? I go, no, because when he's thinking, he's inside. So I said, whatever behavior is coming out is program. So he got it from his father. He plays his father's program. He can't see it because he's been thinking, but everybody else can see it. And I go, wow, that's the most profound story in the world. Why? We are all Bill. Every one of us is playing programs. And we don't see them because why are we playing the program? It's because we're thinking. And then I say, yeah, well, then you don't see the behavior. And I go, yep, and you can sabotage your entire life, and you're the only one that can't see it, and then you become a victim. Well, I wanted to be successful, and the universe must be against me. I go, no, it's your own subconscious, invisible, 95% of the day programming that sabotages us. Okay? And so the reality, are we creating the life we want? I say only when you let go of the program. And then, as my book, The Honeymoon, emphasizes, all of a sudden it's like you create a whole new world. Why? Because science has recognized being in that state of mind, like love. And it doesn't have to be with a person. Let me just emphasize that.
I was going to ask you that. Yes, I did want to interject, but you're on a flow. You're in a flow, so yeah. Please,
Yeah,
it's not just a relationship, is it? Falling in love means choosing a desire, a wish for growth, right? It's one of your
absolutely. You could be a gardener. You could be a chef. You can be an artist. You could have a pet that you just love so much, and you shower all your love on this pet. I'm going, what is that? And I say, you are not thinking at these moments. You're doing the creative thing. And I go, well, if you're being creative, that's conscious mind. So all of a sudden it says what? Well, when you're in love with a person, with a dog, with a recipe, I don't care, okay? You are not playing the program. I say, and what's the relevance? I say, now you're operating from creativity, and now you're manifesting what you want. And so if you eliminated the programs, or replaced the ones that were the ones that were causing you the problem, and then you might say, well, wait, how do I know what the program is? And so I just want to help people out there very quickly for a simple reason. I said, because 95% of your life is the program. You damn well should know what the program is. I say, yeah, but you got the program when? From the last trimester of pregnancy through age 7, you were downloading. The brain was in a state called theta, which is hypnosis. You were downloading how to be a member of a family, how to be a member of a community. By how? By watching other people and downloading their behavior. And I say, okay, John, you were programmed when you were 1. Can you tell me what program you got? And you go, I wasn't there. I have no idea what. Yeah, because conscious mind wasn't working. So you didn't know that. You don't know the program you got. You don't know what you got at 1, 0, 2, last trimester. You don't know the program. I go, well, if the program is controlling my life, how do I know what the program is? I go, 95% of your life comes from the program. Your life is a printout of your subconscious programs. I say, what does that mean? I say, just look at your life. Very simple. The things that you like that come into your life, they didn't come in by accident. They came in because you have a program to let those things in. Okay? But the things you work hard for, struggle over, sweat over, put a lot of effort, I'm going to make this happen. I'm going to be the best. I'm working. I go, why are you working so hard? And the answer is, this is the fun part, because whatever your program is, inevitably, it's not supporting that conclusion. You're not fighting the world. You're trying to override a program that will take away what you want. And so what are your programs? You're living your program. Just look at your life. Wherever you're struggling, it's not that the universe doesn't want you to have anything. It's not that you being, something's against you. You're creating. And all of a sudden we have to own we are creating. And this takes me from victim to say, wait, I'm not a victim of this? What does it mean? I said, my program is not letting me get there. And I say, oh, well, now you know what the destination is. Now you have an opportunity to rewrite the program. You can put a new program in to replace an existing program. But as you said before, which is not possible, I'll just transcend the program. I say, no, they have nothing to do about that, because the moment you start thinking that program is going to play, whether you want to play it or not, it has nothing to do with you now. It's an automatic machine. Yeah. You can't transcend the program. You can rewrite the program.
Yes.
But you can't take it away. That's not going to work.
And how do you do that? Is it just choosing something you love, or is it? Is this?
Well, there's a process. It's a programming process. Okay.
Reprogramming.
Reprogramming. So you have to do it. And I said, well, how do you reprogram? I said, well, first of all, how do you get the damn program in the first place? And so there are 3 different ways. I'll just quickly go over. And number 1 is, how'd you get the program the first 7 years? First 7, my brain was in a state called theta, which is hypnosis. And my consciousness doesn't kick in till full control until about age 7. So before age 7, in a state of hypnosis is how I downloaded the programs. It's called theta. And I say, what's theta? I say, when you put wires on a person's head, EEG, electroencephalograph, you can read the brain functions. They're vibrations. The lowest vibration is delta. That's sleep, unconscious. The next one up is called theta. Okay? It's characterized by theta is like imagination being mixed with real world. I say, yeah, kids, they ride a broom. When they're riding a broom, it's a horse. The mother says, give me the broom. To the kid, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because in that moment, that broom is not a broom, it's a live horse. Okay, that's imagination. Or they'll have a tea party and they'll pour nothing in the cup, drink nothing, and talk about how wonderful the tea was. Okay, so theta is imagination, but it's also hypnosis. Okay, and then by age 7, we ramp up to the next higher vibration called alpha, calm consciousness. And by around 12 to 13, we advance to a higher vibration called beta, which is schoolroom working consciousness. Okay, and so I say, so what's relevant? First 7 years you were in theta. That's hypnosis. I say, well, but if I'm in theta, I can reprogram. I go, yeah. And I say, when do you go into theta? And here's the answer. Remember I said the lowest vibration, delta, sleep, theta, alpha, beta. Highest vibration, beta at work. You come home, you relax. Guess what? The vibration calms down. Now you're in calm consciousness, alpha. But just the moment you fall asleep, the brain doesn't go into delta. It has to pass through theta to get to delta. Theta is hypnosis. So you want to change a program? Put some earphones on at night, play a program of what you want to be true in your life, self-help, self-hypnosis program, and go to bed. Guess what? The coolest part is you don't have any work to do. Why? You're sleeping. And now the program is going into your ears. Conscious is asleep, doesn't hear what the hell the program's all about. Subconscious is still operating. So that's called self-hypnosis. You can put a program in every night by doing that. I say, but I learned programs after age 7. What did I do after age 7? And I still learned. I learned how to drive a car, play a music instrument, do a job. I said, oh, you learned a program. I said, how'd you do that? Repetition, habituation. You want to play an instrument? You got to practice every day. You want to drive the car? You got to practice. I go, oh, habituation. So the 2 primary ways of reprogramming that are natural are self-hypnosis, earphones on, at night, program playing of what you want to be true. Number 2, live as if you are living what you want. But you have to live it like it's an exercise. I love it because the new agey take on it is fake it till you make it. And I say, if I'm not a happy person, what should I do? I say, every day, every moment you can remember to say, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. I go, repetition. And I say, so what? So one day, after you repeat it so many times, it's now a habit. When you wake up, you will automatically be happy because the function of the mind is to make the program real. If you don't have a program, I can't manifest it. If I have a program and it's bad, the function of the mind is to manifest a bad program. But if I put in a good program, the function of the mind is to manifest a good program. So I can reprogram. But I have to do it through habituation, practice, practice, practice. And then lastly, just very quickly, there's a new version of psychology called energy psychology. And it works in a super learning process. You go, what the heck is super learning? I say, maybe you've seen somebody read a book by taking their finger and moving it down the page. As fast as they move that finger down the page, as fast as they read that page. I said, if you can engage super learning, you can rewrite a program in a very short time. In some cases, minutes, okay? So there are 3 ways, and let me just add, people, if they're interested in looking at energy psychology, as you mentioned, my website, brucelipton.com, under resources, I got about 25 different energy psychology modalities, each one slightly different than the other, but they all pretty much work the same. So you can look this up. So I say, look at your life, where you're struggling, is not because you're a victim. Where you're struggling is because your program doesn't let you go there. So now you know what the focus of the program is. You can turn that program around to make a positive outcome for what you want and use that positive programming to download it via self-hypnosis, earphones on at night, repetition, habituation, just behaving, or using energy psychology as a way of installing that program. And that's when you get empowered. But you can't just say, I'm not going to pay attention to the program. That's not your choice. You have no choice.
Yeah, it's there anyway.
Yeah. So basically it says, if you are struggling, stop looking at the outside as the source of the problem and start considering that your own program that you acquired, that you're operating 95% of the day with, was a program that limited you from day one. And until you change that program, that's always there.
Yeah, we're trying to we're trying to do our hair by combing the mirror is basically what's happening at the moment, rather than dealing it from the inside and, and working with those programs. It's funny when you talked about the hypnosis, the hypnotic state, and listening to affirmations and what you want in the life. It reminded me of a Friends episode where Chandler's he has a tape, and it's I'm a strong, confident woman, and he plays it to Joey, and Joey wakes up all kind of feminine the next day. That was, as you were saying that, I was actually thinking, I'm a strong, confident woman.
That is essentially the simplicity of it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the nature. It's simple, but if you don't know where the switch is, you'll never be able to change it. Yeah. So the idea is you have to understand, where did it come from? What sabotaged me? And the most important thing is this: the universe did not set out to sabotage you. The universe didn't do that. Yeah. That was a program that did that.
Yeah.
And if you rewrite those programs, you are free. I mean, I had the worst, record of relationships through the first 40 plus years of my life. Nothing was, it was crap. Right. I failed. But for the last 22 years, I have a honeymoon every day of my life with my partner, Margaret. Why? Because both of us knew we had programs. And if a program shows up that's negative, it generally causes an argument or a fight. Oh, what kind of behavior is that? Blah, blah, blah. I go, yeah, but if you understood that what just came out didn't come out from conscious mind, but came out from program, then it's not me, it's the program that's the problem. Okay. And all of a sudden, if I can take me and stop saying it's me, but say, oh, it's my program, then I can, change the direction of my influence. Because I say, oh, if it's a program, then, so Margaret and I, we first got together and we started to realize sometimes these programs show up. Well, in conventional relationships, it generally precipitate an argument or a fight. But if you already knew that program that just was displayed by your partner didn't come from their conscious mind and who they really are, it came from a program, that will defuse the situation. There's no reason to argue with your computer when the program isn't working right. It's not going to make any difference. You can change the program. That's where we have to move, is let's stop fighting about things and start recognizing I am playing programs that I'm unconscious of 95% of the day, except when we have that honeymoon period, because that's a period where at some point, and scientists recognize, we stop playing the program. The word they use is we become mindful. Becoming mindful means I'm keeping my conscious mind in control and not defaulting to subconscious program.
Yeah, it's the being aware, not analyzing. We're running out of time. I apologize, but you're so passionate. I didn't want to stop you. But those honeymoon periods don't last forever, don't they? And that's the problem. And then you have to work on the programs with each other. And I actually talk in my work that I do as a relationship coach. I talk about one of the greatest gifts of a relationship is the mirroring of each other and your own wounds and your own programming. And if you're both conscious enough, you can actually work through that together. If you're not conscious, then you'll be in a state of reacting to each other and not really knowing where that's coming from. But if you can see that it's like a mirror ship rather than a love ship, then you'll actually be able to see each other's your partner as a teammate to grow from each other. That's
exactly what I learned in my own life with my partner Margaret. I mean, until we both stopped to recognize that behavior that just came out wasn't really me. And then all of a sudden it diffuses, no argument, but gave the opportunity to say, well, what program you want to change? Then I go, oh yeah, well, there's hypnosis, there's repetition, there's energy psychology. And if you rewrite those negative ones, here's the fun part. Once you rewrite them, you don't have any more work to do the rest of your life. It's already done. 95% of your life is going to come from those programs. And once you put the program in, let go. You don't even have any more work to do because it's automatic at that point. So the future is quite bright if you can say, detach from the person from the program. Detach those two. I'm not a religious person, pretty much zero. But I use in my lectures, presumably the last words that Jesus said when he was on the cross, and that was, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. I go, this applies to us every day in a minute. Why? Because if my behavior is coming from my subconscious, I didn't see what the hell I just did, and I could sabotage everything. But if we understood it was a program and it wasn't me, if someone screws with your life and you go, they're the evil one, I go, no, they got an evil program. Are they evil? No, not necessarily. They're just playing the damn program they got, and depending on where they came from and all that. So the idea is we really have to learn to detach who we are as unique individuals from the programs that we display. We are not the programs, although our lives become the programs 95% of the day, because that's how much time we spend thinking.
Absolutely. It's almost as if we don't have free will because these programs are running us. So very difficult.
That's exactly right. And you only have free will when you stop playing the program, and free will leads to what's called the honeymoon. If I had free will, I want to have heaven on earth. I go, good, you can have it.
And unfortunately to say to everyone listening, the honeymoon here is coming to an end. And I just want to say, Bruce, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your amazing wisdom, your amazing charisma, your passion, the fact that like you just were like a juggernaut there, and I couldn't stop you because you're in that conscious flow, you know. And it's funny how you even symbolize left and right. I've noticed with the, you talk in terms with, I don't even know you're doing it yourself, but when you're talking about being in that real flow and aware flow, you're symbolizing to the right brain, and the left brain is thought about it's inhibiting your super flow, if you like. I actually had a neuroscientist called Ian McGilchrist talk about the left and right hemispheres of the brain.
Yes.
And he talks in these terms as well. And it's very funny how you unconsciously or consciously, I don't know.
I have to look at the video and check
myself out. Watch the video.
Now.
You can check yourself out, but it's funny how you were gesticulating as well in those regards. But I would like to say for everyone watching this, please check out Bruce Lipton's work. I personally have gone through the entire audio series of The Wisdom of Cells. I've also read the Biology of Belief, that's what it is as well. Is there anything else you'd like to signpost our audience to? We've also mentioned the website brucelipton.com, but is there anything particular you'd like to signpost them to?
Well, there's a tremendous number of videos and audios and written articles, all free on the website, everything we were talking about. But I would also like to suggest the book that I really like, out of the three, the one that most people don't talk about is called Spontaneous Evolution, because it explains exactly the evolution of the planet, not from sociology, economics, and all that. It really comes from a biology and a belief. And when beliefs change, civilizations change with them. And we're in a very serious civilization crisis right now that says we damn well got to change our beliefs, because the way we've been living is causing our extinction. And so the book Spontaneous Evolution, to me, is like, wow, that was the secret that is now exposed, that we can evolve. I say, how quickly can we evolve? I say, well, how about tonight? You want to evolve tonight? You can do that. By what? If you change these programs, you have a new life. And the idea is, people don't even know their program. So that's where the whole problem comes from. You don't even know your program. You can't explain this. You'd be Bill going, I don't know why things don't work. But then not realizing you're playing other people's programs that are sabotaging you, and Bill doesn't see them, and until you become aware of it, life's a mystery. But once you become aware, oh my God, it makes sense, and we can do something about it. So I really want to thank you, John, for letting me have this opportunity to speak to your community. Absolutely. Because it's a time to wake up and take our power back, because heaven on earth is why we came here. We've been programmed to be victims. And when you're victims, you'll pay anything to somebody else to fix it when you could have done it yourself.
Absolutely. Amen to that, brother. Yeah, amen to that. Take responsibility, live your life with passion, love what you do, fall in love with everything, even if it's just driving the bus or, committing to a book project or, walking the dog, whatever it is. Do it with love and really immerse yourself in it. And, life, we can bring heaven on earth eventually. Before the year 2048, when it all, before
we can do this.
Comes. Yeah, we can do this. All right, Bruce, I'd just like to say thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure our audience absolutely loved you, thoroughly enjoyed you.